Hey guys, it's Aaron, and what I have here is years worth of just collecting Pokemon cards. It actually wasn't until recently, probably for about a year, that I got really into collecting Pokemon again, especially for my personal collection, Wizards of the Coast era, vintage era Pokemon cards. I just have, as anybody who's grown up with Pokemon in their childhood, has just a sentimental and nostalgic attachment to those cards. So what I have here, a super thick, very heavy, massive, it barely even fits on my desk here without my monitor in the way, binder of top loaders and Holos only, organized. I'll show you how it's organized, but organized by set. And I just want to go over my binder with you for my personal collection, and then also document how it grows throughout the years. I kind of think it's already kind of big, but I'm missing some like really expensive cards. But just as the years go on, I want to be able to use this as a documentation of my collection, personal collection, and its growth. So without further ado, let's take a look at what I got. So starting off, first page, I've actually got it organized here by set, as I said earlier, and I've also printed out these really cool scaled art pieces that I use to kind of separate and divide the set. So I actually really didn't find a base set art that I like to represent base set and my nostalgia for it, but this Ken Sugimori art is just so emblematic of Pokemon at the time that I decided to use this. And I actually used this Instagram user's Peeploop. Forgive me if I mispronounce his name, but I'll put a link in the description, and then here's who it is also. He's got a Discord with all the dimensions that you can use to print out artwork and specific for different binders. So right here I've actually got top loader binders, a top loader binder that is actually used for storing top loaders. So first off, it's base set, super nostalgic, and remember, this is just holo cards. I may eventually end up collecting the rest of the commons, uncommons, and just the normal rare, the non-holo rares eventually. But because these are the crown jewels of the sets, the holo cards, especially for Wizards of the Coast era, I wanted to dedicate a binder to just that. So starting off, first page, super nostalgic. I actually don't have a strict adherence to what or how I'm collecting it. Anything beside base set 2, whether it's unlimited or even shadowless like this Chansey that I have here, it's gonna go in there in alphabetical / collector number order. So starting off here, this Ken Sugimori art, super nostalgic and of my time and my childhood with Pokemon Red and Blue version. So obviously I'm missing Charizard. It should go between here, the Blastoise and the Chansey. And as time goes on, I'll definitely be updating the binder. Here we got the Zapdos, and this Poliwrath is just super nostalgic for me. I've got that shadowless Ninetales that with the black flame. Pro tip, if you actually find an unlimited holo Ninetales, unlimited, with that black flame in the background, here I'll show you a close-up of what to look out for. So you'll notice that it actually is that flame behind the Ninetales is actually black. If you find an unlimited version of Ninetales with the black flame, that's the black flame error. So I definitely recommend picking that up, especially if they're not aware of what it is, because it's super rare and highly sought after. Next set, I've actually got a complete set of holos for Jungle. So I printed out the Jungle box art here up on the top. One of my favorites being this Flareon. It's just super nice. Just the composition of the pose that Flareon has here. Actually, it's a pretty clean copy when I picked it up. But yeah, it's also a no set symbol. So not most, but I actually have a lot of cards here, like this Clefable being first edition. It doesn't matter to me, as long as it existed in the set, I'm gonna pick it up. So I've got no set symbol Flareon, no set symbol Nidoqueen over here. And then moving on, This Pidgeot, this action pose is just incredibly. When people think of jungle, people really think of this Pidgeot here. Just the way he's posed up, and Kagemaru Himeno, actually the artist who also did who did a lot of base set art, base set and WotC art alongside Mitsuhiro Arita and Ken Sugimori. Super iconic in his composition and his posing. And then I also picked up this first edition pincer a while back. I don't know if it's a printing error, but maybe you can see here how the foil bleeds into the actual non-hollow part. I don't know that it's a scratch, because the more I look into it, it looks like an error. It looks like intentional. Like, it does not look like a scratch. Where you can actually see here is a scratch. This is actually gold foiling. So I don't know if that makes it super rare or super special, but I thought it's cool because it actually looks like it's kind of encompassing the first edition logo. Snorlax, that simple, really simple design of Snorlax, iconic pose, just lounging around. Absolutely love the Snorlax. Also, no set symbol. And then Venomoth and Wigglytuff, also no set symbol. Moving, and it's a complete. I'm not sure if I had mentioned it earlier, but it is a complete holo set for jungle, as well as a complete fossil set for holos. This Aerodactyl is just, I absolutely love the background, the Jurassic, or yeah, like the kind of Jurassic style greenery, the volcano in the background. It's just super nostalgic for me, being able to see how Aerodactyl looks like from an oncoming view. And then these Keiji art, the 3D renders for this time. When I look back on this, I really like kind of like liminal space, very like Anemoia style artwork. So when I see like this Ditto in a liminal style space background in 3D art, super nostalgic for me. I absolutely love Keiji's artwork. And then speaking of Keiji, here's also that super famous fossil Keiji Gengar. Just anytime you see like that 3D renders, like the Gloom, the Oddish, and of course the Vileplume from Jungle, you'll know that it's that Keiji, that stylistic Keiji 3D rendering. Dragonite, super iconic. Love the rainbow foiling here. And again, this is a complete holo for fossil. It's Kabutops. People love Kabutops. He was probably the one that in the games people chose the most, just because of how intimidating those scythe looks. Like, his design is just incredible, and Ken Sugimori did a great job on this. I always thought Moltres was kind of goofy looking in this one, with like that beak, just like traffic cone. If you really try to focus, it just looks like those yelling squeezyable chickens with like a traffic cone on his head. I always thought it was kind of goofy, but Moltres is cool. Moving on to Team Rocket. Team Rocket is actually going to be pretty hard to collect for, especially the fact that I got the Dark Charizard out of the way. Super happy. And it's actually shout out to my brother-in-law's brother for hooking me up with the Dark Charizard. He actually had it cleaned. It's not too bad. And just really happy to have added this one to the Team Rocket collection. Dark Arbok, this Dark Hypno, absolutely love the art. And I actually have a funny story with this Dark Dug trio. I remember visiting a family friend's house, and they had kids, and they had just pulled a Dark Dug trio. Actually, you can see a swirl here with this Dark Dug trio. Absolutely love the Cosmo foiling with the swirl. I actually think Team Rocket, or was it base set 2? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but Team Rocket was the first time that Wizards of the Coast used that Cosmo holo foiling that included the swirls. But anyways, back to the story. You'll see here how there's action lines in the art for the Dug trio. Below, he's like popping up from the ground. There's like those white action lines. I thought this card was so cool when he showed it to me, and he let me hold it for a bit. And when he came back, he accused me of scratching the card with those white action lines. I'm like, no, that's just the art. And needless to say, I got in trouble, not by my parents, but by him and like his brother. Like, oh, like we can't show you our cards anymore. But now that I have the Dark Trio, I feel justified in vindicated actually that I did not in fact scratch the card. It's just action lines of that Dark Trio popping out of the bedroom floor. Dark Hypno, absolutely love the background for this guy. The two eyes, the menacing pendulum that he's using. Again, there's that liminal space style kind of background, iconic of the time period. Very, very, very 90s. Dark Raichu, super cool. The first time Wizards of the Coast introduced a secret rare card. Dark Raichu is actually the first secret rare. You'll notice the set number is actually 83 out of 82. So if you have a Dark Raichu and you weren't aware, Dark Raichu is actually the first secret rare, meaning that it's a card that went above the full set number and added the extra one there, 83. Gym Heroes. Gym Heroes is actually pretty cool collecting for. I really enjoyed the trainer Pokemon, especially with Destined Rivals and Journey Together being released a few months ago. The trainer Pokemon came back. So we've got Brock's Rhydon, Erica's Vileplume. I believe I completed all the Holo Lieutenant Surge Pokemon. I think I'm missing Misty's Gyarados as well. And then of course, way more. Rocket's Scyther, I think probably is my favorite from the set. Just that pose is so cool. And Ken Sugimori came back and redid Scyther for this card, because you can see here, comparing this Scyther to Rocket's Scyther. This is the iconic base set Scyther art, and then Ken Sugimori came back and redesigned Scyther in this menacing just action pose. Absolutely love it. After Gym Heroes, it was Gym Challenge, so we got a lot of the quote-unquote Elite Four or like evil Pokemon trainers. They still had like Misty's Pokemon in this set, but they introduced more of like Giovanni's and Koga's, you know, the more menacing gym leaders. So Misty's Golduck, I absolutely love the background of this card. Just Ken Sugimori's art on like this, like, I don't know, it reminds me of Elden Ring, or like when you fight Rom in Bloodborne, just this open field of water with like nothing there, and then there's just this structure jutting out of the water. Super, super cool. This Rocket's Zapdos actually has a swirl here. I don't know if the camera's able to pick it up. It's right here, just above the zap coming out of his wing. I'm not sure if we're able to capture that, but Rocket Zapdos, absolutely iconic. They actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they actually reprinted this as well for the Celebrations set. So it's got the Pikachu with the Celebrations logo right here at the corner. Moving on to the Neo Genesis set, which I think is my favorite set, or at least my top two, maybe top three set in the WotC era Holo card, or WotC era sets just in general. Just Gen 2. I absolutely love Generation 2, the Gold and Silver and the Crystal version being probably my favorite Pokemon game in the series. Just has such a great atmosphere, just the Pokemon, the newness of it being like just introducing new Pokemon. It was so great back in the day, especially the fact that it has Lugia, one of my favorite legendaries in the set. And also, for the Stage 2 starter, it is the first time that they actually introduced two Holos for that starter, for the Stage 2 starter. For example, there's two Holo for Alligators in this set. There's also two Meganiums in this set. There's two Typhlosions in this set. However, from this set, the Lugia is my absolute favorite card from this set. You just can't beat that art. It's that classic, he's like about to like Kamehameha hyper beam his opponent. I actually really love this card, how it's got like that hollow spark right there where he looks like he's about to generate a beam. There's no swirl, which I would have wished there was a swirl, but honestly, I think that hollow dot looks way nicer, like he's generating a beam. And I also am debating whether I want to crack this guy open, first edition Lugia, and just putting him in my binder, because that's where cards belong. They belong in the binder. But being a graded 7 is actually worth a lot more in this state than it would be. It's maybe about $100 more as a grade 7 than it is raw. But yeah, definitely considering cracking this open and just putting it in my binder. The first time, obviously, Pokemon introduced baby Pokemon and baby Pokemon in the TCG with their own abilities. And just this iconic Pichu reminds me a lot of the first time he was introduced in the movie. Super iconic, and I love this holo foil as well. Another favorite art of mine is this Slowking Ken Sugimori art, again plastered on top of like a 3D rendered background. I love the vastness of this art, just how it's just Slowking reminds me a lot of that short Slowking's Day Off or Slowking's Day or something like that, where he's just lounging around. So here he is, just like looking out onto the ocean and pondering its nothingness, I guess. But absolutely love the background of this art as well. Moving on to Neo Discovery. I like Neo Discovery because it's got that ruins, very forgotten type of vibe to it. This Espeon, the art is just incredible. The fact that she's kind of like stepping like very lightly on the water, and the reflection you can see here, so good. However, my favorite card in this set is the Houndour. Something about him being in the tall grass, kind of hiding, lurking around, reminds me so much of those old samurai movies I used to watch. Reminds me a lot of Ghost of Tsushima, where he's just like hiding in the tall grass, and just this composition reminds me it's Houndour hunting at night or just like skulking around. Absolutely love the composition of this card, and I honestly think this Houndour art is probably top 3 favorite art in Pokemon of all time for myself. This Tyranitar with the Sharingan in the background is just so cool. Tyranitar also being one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. The Sunset Politoed, just super iconic. Can't beat Politoed with the sunset in the background. Absolutely love it. I honestly think it looks better on non-holo because you can see the background way easier, but had to put him there. Umbreon, I really don't like how Umbreon was done in this set. His ears just look bigger, too big. His ears just look very awkward with the curved pointed tip. People love this card. I honestly don't think it's really all that special compared to other Umbreon cards out there, especially the Umbreon standing on the ruins. This art is so much better than this one. This Ursaring, again, also one of my other favorite arts in this set. You can see like this like pillar in the background. This one actually has a foil swirl above his head. Hopefully the camera can pick this up, but it kind of looks like a halo as it like swirl. Oh, there you go. You can probably see it better there. Nice. Just like this swirl above his head, and this this ruins with like, I think there's unknown on there. I can barely see it, but I actually like this ruined pillar behind him. Super cool. Moving on to Neo Revelation. I actually don't have too many holo foils for Neo Revelation, but of course this first edition Celebi, super cool because I'm not sure what error this would constitute, but the only thing that's holo really is just the ring here, or it might be the energy trails that's following the Celebi, and the outline of the Celebi itself is holo foil. Everything else with the card is just standard matte finish or gloss finish. If you know which holo air would this be, I know it's not double holo, it might be a holo bleed, but if you know what air this is, let me know in the comments below. But this art, so cool. Then what can be said about this Houndoom that hasn't already been said? This art is just so menacing, super clean. I actually saw that one famous picture of the Houndoom hollow foil with the swirl coming out of him, almost as if it's smoke breathing out. He's breathing out smoke because it is that fire type, dark fire type Pokemon. But this art is incredible. Again, more 3D art. Absolutely love the KEG 3D art. Super nice with this Porygon 2. Moving on to Neo Destiny. Again, Neo Destiny. The Neo cards, because of their price, is a little harder to collect for. So I've got here this Dark Crobat. Love the composition. Just like that action pose, the action shot coming into view from the camera after a night of flying. Super nice. I have to say this is probably my favorite Typhlosion card. Just that action pose, breathing fire, just dancing in the flames. This Dark Typhlosion, probably my favorite Typhlosion card in all of Pokemon. Now onto the Wizards of the Coast promos, which has been consistently my favorite set to collect for. Just because every single card in the set has a reason for existing. For example, the Ivy Pikachu, which is what's referred to as with the grass background or the ivy leaves in the background, being the first in its set, and also having a first edition stamp error as well. So, which is worth, I think, upwards of $3,000. So if you find that Pikachu, promo Pikachu with the ivies in the background and a first edition stamp, which is the error, you're in the money. Obviously, I've put this artwork here to represent the first movie with the Electabuzz, Mewtwo, and these gold stamp Kids WB logos here at the top with the Messenger Dragonite. Absolutely, I think of the 4 cards, the Dragonite is my favorite, just because it's in a scene. This Jigglypuff, super cool. If you bought the soundtrack for the first movie and there was a proof of purchase on it, if you submitted that in, they would give you back this Jigglypuff with a staff bar or music notes in the background. Moving on here, we've got probably my favorite Meowth, which is this promo Game Boy Meowth, which you got in the Pokemon trading card game for the Game Boy Color. This card came in there, and actually you could get this card in the game as well. I love the composition. I love the fact that there's this cute little GB logo here at the bottom of the artwork to denote that this is where it came from. And then, again, more Pokemon Leagues. Mew had 2 versions. There was a non-holo and a holo version. This Eevee, every time I look at it, I want to say Flareon, because it looks like a Flareon. Just the jagged fur and its color makes it look so much like a Flareon. But I love that because this came out in Gen 1, there's the blue, red, and yellow to denote that there's the Jolteon, Flareon, and Vaporeon evolutions you can get into. But I like to think the reason he's red is because he's going towards the Flareon color for red evolution, so there's that headcanon. This computer error is so cool. I love how it's depicting a bunch of different items from the actual trading card game. So plus power, revive. I think this is full heal. I may be mistaken. You can see the foot of a Snorlax here. Obviously Onyx is foremost, front center. Magnemite falling through. Bunch of different items here. I think this is Team Rocket's something. I may be mistaken. It's been a while since I seen this art, or actually this contraption, this device on a card before. But I think it has to do with Team Rocket something. I could be mistaken though. Dark Persian, so cool. I don't know if the camera's able to pick it up, but you can see Giovanni's eyes in the background. This came in Nintendo Power, so if you got a copy of Nintendo Power with this card, they actually gave you this card. The issue with Nintendo Power giving out cards, just like this Mewtwo as well, the issue with that is that to peel them off, they had these sticky notes here, these little rubber stickies here. So to peel them off, you have to be really gentle as to not give a crease or anything. This Mewtwo actually did not suffer that same fate. However, somewhere here on this Persian, as I was examining it earlier, there is a crease. So It's actually right here down the middle. Maybe the camera can't pick it up, but down here in the middle, as you're trying to peel it off, you get that crease in the background. So very hard to actually get this card in A10, which I actually cracked it open from a graded PSA slab earlier in the year because I wanted to add it to my binder. I've got the Power of One promotional art here, so I can display the Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos that they gave out to moviegoers at the theater to see the Lugia movie, which is the Power of One. And actually, I have the Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos that I have here are the first versions that they handed out. The artist here is incorrect. I can't remember who actually did the art, but the artist that they've credited here at the bottom of the cards is incorrect. Later on, towards the end of the movie, as it was in theaters, as it was starting to phase out, they had finally corrected the artist. So not only did you have to go to watch the movie towards the end of its like 2 or 3 weeks it was in theaters, you had to be lucky enough that they gave you the card with the corrected artist, which is considered actually more rare. Love this Psyduck, super, super cute. That question mark is just so out of place. I love it. And it actually reminds me of the Psyduck from, was it Base Set or Jungle, where he's like kind of standing on the edge of the water. It makes me think like this is a continuation of that scene where he's like standing on the edge of the water. You may notice that these are actually out of order, and that's by design. I wanted to be able to fit the Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos near the promotional art for the Power of One. But as I continue to fill the collection, it will naturally fall in place. Pokemon movie number 3 near the holo foil promo card. I actually am looking for the Pichu that was also a promo for the movie as well. But this Entei art is iconic. Everybody I knew had this card. Everybody I knew had gone to see it. Not my favorite movie. I think I have a soft spot for the Power of One because Lugia is just so cool. But Entei is also nothing to laugh at either. I love this Togepi that, again, Ken Sugimori art plastered on a 3D background. The background just makes me feel like solemn and kind of like this like loneliness. I love the background. It reminds me of just this open field to go explore, and Togepi seems to be having a good time. This promo Caesar is just so cool. I think he's supposed to be like in a tunnel, but again, more like Pokemon art within a 3D landscape. So he's like a tunnel background and like these like gems flowing through it. Not sure what that's supposed to represent, but just the Caesar arts are cool, and that red contrast against like that gray metal border for the steel type Pokemon. So cool. Mischievous. Here's Shinichi art that I was talking about earlier. If you look up the list of the Shinichi arts, you'll notice that there's a lot of like goofy styled Shinichi arts that this Mischievous did not deserve this application. I actually happen to like Mischievous design, but it did not do justice in this card. I just thought it's super goofy. Speaking of liminal spaces, this Pokemon Tower is just so cool. Nighttime, 3D rendered trees with a tower and like these two little like balls of light floating around. Absolutely love the art on this card just because it reminds me of 3D liminal landscapes, which is super cool to me. I don't think there's another cooler Scyther art card, especially with this one kind of running ninja speed at you. So good. This Hironobu art is just incredible. The composition, the sun in the background, you can tell it's like a hot day, long battle, and absolutely love this Scyther card. And then this Rapidash is actually the last of my collection for promo cards. So there was this Rapidash, and I believe there's also a Ho-Oh card. But there's two versions of each, Rapidash and Ho-Oh. There's this version, and then there's another version that says Pokemon Center NY on it, which was given out at Pokemon Center in New York, the Ho-Oh and the Rapidash. So those ones are actually pretty pricey just because of that stamp. that's underneath the art, and obviously always going to be on the lookout for that. Next page is just doubles that I have for trade. I have extra Houndour, extra Wobbuffet, and then a unlimited extra Ninetales. Again, doesn't really matter whether the card is first edition, unlimited, or shadowless. If it has a spot in the collection, if it has a spot on the collection collector number, it's going to go in the slot. And then I also started collecting the Bandai cards, starting off with Zapdos and Moltres. I want to get that Articuno one, but I think the Articuno one is actually more expensive of the three. Not sure why, but yeah, also want to create a binder, if not a few pages of the Cardos cards. Absolutely love the fact that they're performing a move. If I'm not mistaken, this is, actually I don't remember, Tenki, oh Thunder, Tenki is Thunder, so Thunder something. Thunder something. But yeah, that's the move he's performing. In the background's got some, in the back it's got some stats. No evolution. And then Moltres is doing an attack as well. But yeah, love the fact that these Bandai Cardos cards show Pokemon in their natural habitat, just fighting each other or performing a specific move. And yeah, we'll probably do an update on these as soon as I get more of them. So, I'm gonna leave it off on this page just because it's a complete page of holo Pokemon cards. It'll probably even be the thumbnail. But yeah, this has been a video just showcasing my holos for each generation of WotC. I don't know that I'm going to start collecting any of the e-reader series, Expedition, Skyridge, or Aquapolis, just because their prices are nuts. I know the Magneton itself, a regular holo Magneton from the e-reader series, is like $200, $300, and it's Magneton. So just that being in itself is gonna take a long while for me to even get into starting to collect those, just because their prices are so insane. But yeah, let me know if I should crack this open and add it to my binder. I really want to. I'm leaning towards doing a video of just me cracking it open and adding it to the binder. I'm really leaning towards doing that, just because I absolutely love Lugia and I don't want to just have it in a slab. Just be able to put it in my binder and say that, yes, I have a first edition Lugia in my PC. But yeah, let me know if I should crack that open, and let me know what your favorite set to collect for was, whether it's a vintage or modern. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.